Hey there.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Evie Comics, and I just wanted to throw in that fish. I felt like that would be really funny. I'm doing a review today of Puppet Volume 1, or Issue 1, from Divinity Comics. And doing this, I want to go ahead and set a couple things straight. I want to make sure I'm very clear with a couple things before we start this. One, this was provided to me for free by Mike Wheeler, like a review copy. He watched a video, him and Mindy watched my review of Rainbow the Brute, and I guess and they really liked it. They took the criticism very well, and apparently they want me to do more. So gladly, I'll gladly take this and do some reviews. Now, just because it was provided to me for free does not mean that I will be easy on it. If I see something wrong with it, if I see something that I have a little bit of a question about, I'm gonna bring it up. So just to be 100% transparent about that, I want people to know that if something is provided me for free, it was provided for free. I did not pay for this. But the second thing I want everyone to know is that this is a this is a product of the Wheelers, which means there is straight up nudity in it, as all of their comics include, except for Rainbow the Brute. But I guess the bears are technically naked, but that's pretty normal. Anyway, the point is that pretty much everything the Wheelers do is overly sexual and in nature, and a lot of it is just straight up just porn parodies. Essentially, is what it is. All right, that's not really for me. That's not really what I seek out. That's not really what, whenever I'm looking for a comic, that's not what I look for. You know what I mean? That's just me. That's just me personally. I tend to look for something with a little more story. If I'm watching, if I'm watching Daredevil or Luke Cage. I've been watching Luke Cage recently, and there's sex scenes in that. You know what? Fine. It doesn't bother me. But to go into a story knowing that it's obviously every page is going to be sexual in nature. It's not really my thing. Now, not everything in this comic is like that. Not every page is like that, though. Obviously the main character here, Detective Hartman, does have the tightest shirt known to man. It's also very low cut. So it is what it is. It is what it is what I'm saying. So if you're not into this kind of comic, that just be aware that that's in it, right? If you're not gonna, if you're avoidant to this, this might not be for you. However, just because it has, the nipples, I'll say, doesn't mean that the story is bad, and that's what I want to go over here. I want to talk about the story without really giving too much away because, I don't want to just, spoil everything for you. I want you to read this. So I'm going to try and be as spoiler free as possible. There will be some mild spoilers in this, but I'm going to keep things pretty vague for the most part as far as the finer details. But some plot elements are just going to have to be explained, including the ending, which you can you can guess where this is going by some of the cover arts and stuff that's being shown. You can guess where things are going with that, so it's not really that big of a spoiler anyway. But what I've done is I've taken a few pages and I put them into paint.net, and I just had them on layers that I'm going to show whenever they become relevant to what I'm talking about here. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the story. Now, immediately on the first couple of pages, we've got this monster design, and I will say, I really like this design. It's simple, right? It's just an all-black creature with long, sharp fingers with the claws at the end. It's got these huge, glowing yellowish orange eyes, and they're very bright, right? There's this light that comes from it, and this guy in the background, his peenar is glowing very brightly. No, I'm kidding. That's I'm pretty sure that's a tablet or something that's that's on the body of someone, because like you can see like he's got the tablet in his hand and he like puts it on top of the dude. But it does kind of look like his penis is glowing. Anyway, but I do like the monster design. It works. It kind of looks alien almost, and immediately starting off the comic with some action is always a good way to get someone invested right away, to try and get the Zoomers' attention, right? So I don't think you'd need action on the first couple of pages to get a reader's attention, but a lot of times that is going to be the easiest way to get people to keep reading the rest of it, is to show them something cool happening on the first couple of pages. Also, this comic is kind of gory, not like super gory, but like, you know, there's a jaw being ripped off immediately from a dude. But that being said, Hartman as a character, the main character here, this detective girl, she's an interesting character. They give her some backstory that I'm not gonna go fully into, but they give her some backstory, like some tragic loss she's had in her past, and they do it in a way that's pretty natural. Like the information about her is given. It's not the super exposition dumped. You know what I mean? Like, it's just enough information that it sounds natural for the characters to be saying, and it also like makes me, the reader, think about what that means. You know, what does this character's loss mean for her? You know, what is Hartman? Why is Hartman a detective? Was she always a detective before the loss, or has she become a detective because of the loss? And that question, I think, is very informative on, you know, what this character is. It makes me intrigued about her motivations, right? Instead of just telling me this in like an exposition dump or an internal monologue, which a lot of comics do. This is very organically woven into it. I think it makes sense for the characters to be saying the things about Hartman that they do, and the scenes overall flow pretty well. The pacing overall is pretty good through this. Everything kind of goes naturally. She follows this trail of evidence from these first two bodies, from the first couple of pages. She basically just goes through this and finds out who this guy is, where he's from. She ends up going to this museum, which automatically tells you that this creature from the first page is otherworldly, if not alien, then ancient in nature. And I went into this blind, so I didn't really know anything about it. So that I saw that and I was like, okay, I see what kind of story we're going through here. We're it's almost like Egyptian a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's Egyptian, but it seems similar like it, right? So there's ancient artifacts and stuff like that. She goes to this museum, traces one of the victims to this museum, and starts talking with some of the staff, including this Dr. Thompson, which, yes, naturally, because she's another woman character, her boobs must be massive, and she must be have her shirt have barely any buttons fastened. naturally, that's just the way that every single Wheeler character, female character looks. and you know what, that's a style. So I mean, it's there's a commitment there. There's a commitment to it. But basically, from right off the bat, these characters have a little bit of tension between them, a little bit of not getting along from the very start, and this escalates further down the comic. It is Halloween, by the way. This takes place on Halloween, and she goes to a bar to find out more about the second victim. In which case, this Dr. Thompson is also there, and then things go to the next level where Thompson is kind of actively taunting Hartman, whereas before she wasn't really didn't seem that she was totally antagonistic. But now she seems to have taken on a different, showing a different side of herself now she's out of the workplace. And it's not entirely clear what she does. It's not entirely I guess, told what she does specifically, but she seems to be studying some kind of artifact there. You can see on the middle panels that she's got some kind of a figure that she's cleaning and maybe trying to analyze for, like, how old it is and stuff like that, which gives you an idea that she might be involved with this creature in some way. She could be the creature, she could know someone that is the creature, or the creature is not someone like a human in disguise. It could be like just a straight up creature that she summons or controls somehow. And again, the intrigue is built here. The intrigue is built throughout this, and it works pretty good for the first volume. It's starting to build this mystery throughout it. But yeah, and speaking of the bar, the Frozone is here, which I thought was kind of funny. It's like Walmart's Frozone, where it doesn't quite look exactly like Frozone, so I guess they won't get won't get sued for it. But I just thought that was funny. I think there's also Ryu in one of the scenes as well. Ryu is another character that I know is from Street Fighter. But yeah, the bar scene also has this moment where Dr. Thompson is talking to this other guy who appears to be dressed like a vampire, but he could not be dressed like a vampire. That could be how he actually looks, and the gray skin leads me to potentially suspect that he's the monster. But there's no sort of like confirmation to that, of course, because it's just the first volume. But all these things basically add on to the mystery element and makes me think, and that's what a good mystery comic should do. Is a detective comic. It should make me think about everything. It should make me consider all this stuff, and it does a good job of that throughout most of the comic. And so from here, you got this. I've already talked about the creature. How, like, it's very strong. Obviously, it's got these sharp claws and everything. And then it's related to these tablets that this museum is studying. Right. It relates to this somehow. And one of the victims was from the museum, so they're involved in some way. And Thompson seems to be the person that's most involved, from what it appears. But the creature also has another ability, and that is it can mimic voices, which is horrific because there's a character who seemingly dies. I'm not going to say for sure if the character dies, but Hartman is lured by the voice of the person who dies, potentially, by the creature, and then, spoiler alert, this is your final warning, is killed by the creature. Plot twist, you wouldn't expect the main character to die in the first volume of the comic. However, it is not permanent, as there is this final page here, which I will show you right now. Yes, this final page here, which is Hartman being powered up by this hooded figure. Now, there's a point in the comic where it takes a little bit of a turn. It changes scenes to this other world where there's a bunch of people in chains and naked. No genitals, no genitals shown. Thankfully, I did not want to see old man balls. Thankfully, there's none of that. But again, there are some nipples. But the scene is a little weird because it just abruptly changes to this with no context, and there's this demon horned thing that seems to want to claim Hartman, but instead this hooded figure steps in and says, "No, this one is not yours." And earlier in the comic, in the museum, there's a moment where Hartman is talking about this God of Justice figure that's on the tablet that was found at the scene of the crime, and Dr. Thompson explains that it's the God of Justice. And this hooded figure could be the God of Justice, considering that it's the one that revives her and gives her this superpowered bikini suit and possibly fire powers. I'm not entirely sure. And this is where my biggest critique comes in for this volume one, is that this is the last page. This is where it ends. And it almost feels like this is the last scene before a commercial break. And then it comes back after the commercial. It comes back to like a scene where she's using her powers to fight someone. You know what I mean? Or in some kind of action set piece. And my biggest criticism is that the ending is a little anticlimactic. I would have liked to see something that Hartman can do now with these powers, with this kind of golden, I can barely call it armor, that she's wearing. You know, what are her powers? Because just looking at this, I don't really know if it's fire or not, because previously the scene with the demon and the hooded guy, the kind of way that we're viewing her dead in the apartment is like a ring of fire. So I don't even know if that's really what she can do. If she's got the ability to control fire or summon fire or something. I have no idea if that's the case, or if it's just the portal that the hooded guy and the demon are watching this. And because of that, I feel like what could have been done here is to have a little bit of an action scene. It doesn't have to be an entire full sequence. Just a little bit to showcase like what is in store for the next volume. Maybe she starts to get into fight with this alien creature thing, and it showcases a few abilities, maybe not everything, but just something to give me an idea of what to expect next. Because as of me finishing this, I don't really know what she does. I don't really know what the what the hooded figure is, what this other world they're in. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And because of that, I kind of left this, and I stepped away for a little bit to think about it before I started writing down my notes for this review. It's a little difficult for me to kind of explain my thoughts on this, because it is so anticlimactic, I'll say. Otherwise, it's been a pretty good job of establishing, Hartman as the main character. It's done a pretty good job with, unraveling the mystery, the different elements of the mystery that will eventually be answered. It's setting up a lot of stuff, but there's no payoff at the end of the comic. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff being set up, but nothing gets answered. Nothing really. There's not a single thing that gets answered compared to, other mystery stuff, where at least one piece of the mystery is solved, so that it makes you excited for the next piece that's going to be revealed. Right? That I feel like is a little bit missing here. And a lot of the stuff that's done, like the different area, the different world, whatever, of the chain of naked people or whatever, is just, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It just sort of just, there it is. And I don't necessarily need a full explanation as to what it is, but I would like a little bit more. I would like a little bit more information from the dialogue between this demon character and the hooded guy. I would like to see a little bit more information about that. Just a little bit, just to satisfy my brain. To know a little bit more of what's going on and what I can expect for the next volume. But yeah, as far as the rest of the stuff goes, the art is pretty good, start to finish. There's not really anything that stood out to me that was like bad or anything that I thought was, because I pointed out in the Rainbow the Brute thing, talking about how the bear squeezed through the cave, but Rainbow and the unicorn Ruby couldn't go through it. Like, the bear, a huge grizzly bear, can fit through it, but those two can't. That was like my biggest complaint about that. And that was something that was both an art and a story issue. So I pointed it out, but nothing like that really stands out to me here like this. There's a few nitpicks with some of the background stuff, but I mean, like, I'm not really worth pointing out in my opinion. again, I don't really critique art that much whenever I'm doing this. I'm mainly looking at the story because that to me is the most important element. Is the story good? Um, so I don't really have too much to say about that other than the artwork is good. The style, very typical comic book style, I would say. I mean, it looks like a really well detailed comic book. You know, it's got that style to it, like a 2000s kind of style to it. But it works. I think it works. I think it works for this comic. It's kind of more gritty, anyway, with the New Jersey criminal elements detective vibe that it's got going on. But there is one thing I will say as far as something that I think is something that I noticed that made it a little. I say it's worth pointing out is the characters, besides like the main ones, really don't stand out that much from each other. A few of them kind of blend together for me. And just for example, pretty much every character in this first issue is white except for Martinez and Teddy. And you can have a cast full of white people, but the problem is that most of them have black hair. Most of them have black hair, and I find it hard to kind of not necessarily differentiate them because I know they're different characters, but I think these characters would stand out a lot more if they were a little more visually diverse. I said the word. And that's like, that's one of the benefits of having characters of multiple races is that they do stand out from each other a little bit more. When you have like an Asian character, a black character, a Mexican character, which by the way, there are two Hispanic characters. There's Martinez, which is like the chief policeman, and Teddy, which I think is another crime scene investigator. And those two definitely are one. The guy's name's Martinez, so it's pretty obvious. It's suggesting that he's Mexican. And then Teddy, he looks a little bit darker skinned. So I don't know if he's Hispanic. I don't know what he is exactly, but he's I don't think he's white. But the thing is a lot of the characters, and I'll go back to the bar scene. You got this guy, white dude, black hair. This other guy, white dude, black hair. And yeah, he stands out a little bit better because he's fat. And this dude's skinny and he's got longer hair, right? The hairstyles are saving it. But there are quite a bit of characters that just have black hair and are white. So that's if anything's worth pointing out as far as the art, I would say this is. The good thing is about the main characters, you've got, Hartman, who's got this kind of brown reddish hair color, and she stands out a lot from Dr. Thompson, which has this blonde hair, right? And she's the only blonde character, so that allows those two to easily stand out from each other. No issues there. This guy's got white hair and he's got the beard going on, the glasses, so he stands out as well. Like most designs, I would say are not. I don't confuse them for each other. And they are consistent in how they look, but just I don't know. Just a few of them just don't really stand out to me. A few of them just seem like a little generic in their appearance, just a little bit. But yeah, this is Martinez right here. There is this one guy with brown hair. He doesn't have black hair. I think he's the photographer of the crime scene. And he stands out a little bit more, but just if anything, that's just a minor nitpick. I don't even think that's too big of a deal because it seems like these characters don't really mean a lot, at least not for volume 1. Obviously, they'll appear in future volumes, but I don't necessarily find their designs to be striking. You know what I mean? But that's basically it. Like as far as critiques go. I felt like the ending was a little anticlimactic without an action scene showcasing some of her power. I would have liked to see that, and some of the designs didn't really stand out. But that's fine. That's fine. If that's the worst I'm saying about it, overall it was pretty good, right? It established the character, established her possible motivations. It made me think about her, like who she is and why she's doing this. It did a good job of establishing the story, the tone of it, and everything. And naked ladies. So, with that being said, that's pretty much all I got to say about this one. Kind of a shorter review, but this is one of those times where what I have to say is very concise and not really worth rambling for an hour over. My thoughts are pretty clear on this. So, but that's basically all I gotta say. If I had to give it a scale ranking on from 0 to 10, I would say maybe like 6.5 out of 10 to maybe 7 out of 10. I'm not entirely sure yet. It's not 6 out of 10. And I don't like giving half I don't like giving the 0.5s. I don't know. I have to think about it a little bit more. But it's definitely, I would say it's a good comic. I would say it's a good volume. It's a good start for a story. It didn't completely blow me away, but it is a good start to the story, right? But that's all I got to say, really. So thanks so much, Mike, for sending me this review copy. And I hope you continue to have some more banger comics for me to read in the future. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Check out Little Miss Steel, my own comic, and let me know what you think. I'm already 6 volumes in on that, so check it out on Global Comics. And check out Indie Crowdfund, where I will be selling physical copies of my first volume of Little Miss Steel with some retuned artwork. So until next time, peace out.